Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's a little wintry mix out here today. Today I'm down at the cabin and let's talk about power. So what I do to power my cabin. I am completely off grid, so no electric can be run out here. I have been running off of a generator, but I've decided to upgrade a little bit. So I've gone ahead and I'm going to go with solar. I don't have all of it yet, but what I do have is have an EG4 power inverter, charger, controller all in one. I do have the new LifePower 4 EG4 server rack battery, and then I do still have my generator. So let's get I'll show you how that's installed and then what it does for me. By the way, I want to show you another thing too. This little guy right here, this is Rifle. We're going to talk about Rifle here in just a little bit, but he's my new he's a rescue dog, and I just got him. I've had him for a few months now, but he is he's loving life. Listen to this guy. What's up, Rifle? Hey buddy, what are you getting? What do you think? Anyway, Rifle is a beautiful black German Shepherd. I volunteered at the River's Edge Animal Shelter in Perry County, Indiana, and then I just fell in love with him. So after working there a little bit and working with him, I decided to adopt him, and here he is. So he does have a little condition. He was diagnosed positive for heartworms, but I was very fortunate that there was a local donor in the area that has decided to pay for his heartworm treatment. So thank you very much to that donor. And he's doing great. So he's going through his treatments now, and he is living life to the fullest. So anyway, we'll get back to what we're going to do today. We're going to go over here into the shed, and I will show you guys how I set up this electric. Thank you guys for watching. Alright, so this is the all-in-one inverter. I know the lighting's kind of bad in here, so I'll try to use some flashlights to help out. But so again, it's EG4 all-in-one. It's got where I have my AC input. This is my output going to the cabin, and this is where the solar comes in. I don't have the solar just yet, but I run when I need to charge my server rack battery, I'm using my generator. So let's get this thing wired up and I'll show you how it works. Alright, so down here, this is my server rack battery. Positive cables hooked up, negative cables hooked up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my cables up from the bottom underneath here and go up into my my converter. So let me get those wires running. Alright, so here are the cables. So red for the positive, black for the negative. These are hooked up to the battery. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide them into the terminals that are inside there. There is the ports right down there. So I'll slide those up through, and let's get these hooked up. So I'm going to do the positive first. So up through the slot here. All right, so see how that So I'm going to slide this up. Make sure it seats fully all the way to the top where it bottoms out. All right, now I'm going to get this tightened up. And one thing, after you get them tightened, just make sure you do a good pull check. You want those to be tight, pretty tight, so no risk of that slipping out. All right, let's do the negative. So it just slides up. Right, next. Fully seat it. And now we're going to tighten that one. All right, now both of these are in there and they're tight. So now the all-in-one inverter is hooked up to the battery. Now let's get the AC run, the output. So again, this is the output here. You got your hot and your neutral, and there's also a ground. I'm gonna hook the ground up right there. So let's get that hooked up. So here is my power that goes into the cabin. Get these a little bit cleaned up. So on this, the neutral is white, the power is black, and obviously the green is going to be my ground. I'm going to hook my neutral and power up first. And again, these go in these slots here, same way, same concept with the for the power from the battery. These slide up through a little slot here on the bottom, and then we will get these put in. So again, make sure those are seated completely before you tighten them down. Let's come in and tighten them. Tug, make sure those are in there. So now those are seated up in there. Next is I'm going to do this ground wire. So let me see if I can't show you how that's going to go. So that's going to mount. Turn it around here like that. To mount right there. So I'm going to get that mounted, and I'll show you what it looks like after I get it in there. All right, now the ground is connected. You see, I just wrapped it around and tightened it up really tight right there. So now we have our ground. So this is actually ready to start up. So let's see what's going on. So again, power inverter, all-in-one charger. So the negative cable, positive cable go up into the all-in-one converter. And then my power to the cabin comes down this way. It runs, I have it running through the floor, and then it actually hooks up right over there. It's like an RV adapter. So it hooks up, got the 3-prong, just plug it in, and that goes up inside the cabin to my breaker box to power the cabin. So let me show you how this works. First off, you come down here, and these do have a breaker disconnect, so I'm going to flip that on first. So flip that on. Next, you got an on and off power here, so we'll power this on. Give it a few seconds, and it will power itself up. Here it comes. Just does have communications that I can communicate with from the battery up to the charge inverter. Here's my state of charge indicator. So right now I am at 4 bars, which means anything from 75% to 100% of the battery power. So now we'll come up here to the top. Way back there, that is the on-off button. So now I'm going to flip this on. And it's going to start going through its little cycles. And you'll see here in just 1 second, it's got 120 volts. All of that means that now that power is going from the battery through the inverter, down through the power cable, inside of the cabin. So let's go inside real quick and I'll show you what, let's make sure we got power. It's like rifle's ready to go in anyway. Oops, he's a little chilly. All right, so, yep, I left the ceiling fan on, oops. So there you go, power inside the cabin. All right, now that that is running, like I mentioned earlier, I don't have my solar panels yet. I plan on getting those sometime maybe this spring, but in the meantime, so that I can charge up my battery, I use my generator. But there's one thing that I had to learn. I didn't know about this until I started doing some research, but so generator power, even on some of these newer ones. Now I've got this Predator 3500. It's one of the new ones, or newer ones. They still have some dirty power that comes through, and what that means is when you've got a sine wave that comes through for power, if they're not really consistent, that can send extra like voltage or charges through into your house or your cabin or whatever you're trying to power, whatever electronic you're trying to power, and it could damage them. So being that this stuff's pretty important to me, I don't want to damage that stuff. So EG4 makes it, it's called a charge inverter. So that's what this is right here. So this charge inverter, what I can do is I can run this to the output on my generator, and then that will transfer that power in to make it a pure sine wave coming through, and then this output will come to the battery, and then that way I can charge my battery that way. So let me get this hooked up and I'll show you how it works. And this is where I do my communication with the battery. So I'll use the RS485 communications from the battery to this. That way I can check this monitor here and see how that state of charge is going, and whatever I need to do there. So let me get this one hooked up. All right, so there's the EG4 charge inverter, and I've got the power cable running down here to the bottom. So it's going to come down, and it's just normal. This is a three-prong RV plug, and it's just going to go right here. Put that in there like that. Give it a twist. So now the charge inverter is hooked up to the generator. Now, to hook the battery up to the charge inverter, so one thing I like about this EG4, this LifePower 4, is it's got dual terminals. So it's got two negatives and two positives. So I can run one side to my charge all-in-one converter, and then I'm gonna run this other side all the way back up here to the charge inverter. So that's what these two are here. Again, red and black for positive and negative. And these do have this quick connect, which I love this feature. And let me show you how these hook up onto the charge inverter. So the black one, it just snaps into this black one. And you hear that snap. You see this little, that's the release button. It's connected in fully. Now we'll take the power, do the same thing, listen for the click, and there it is. Now these are both fully put in. Now, how this works is, this is going to get a little loud, but first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start up my generator, make sure it's running, or get it running. So let's get this started. that is running, it will start to power this up. One thing I need to do is, right now it's not telling me I have a state of charge because I do not have my communications hooked up. It's set at 56 volts and there's currently no amperage going to the battery. So let's get the communications hooked up. Communications, I'm going into the RS485. Plug that in there. Run this down, back behind. And then we're going to hook that up right here to this RS485 here. So now if we come back up, it's now communicating, and you can see I've got an 87% state of charge on my battery. So what I can do now, again, this has a DC breaker on it. For me to turn this charge inverter on to start charging the battery from the generator, I'm just going to flip this on. You heard the generator kick in. If we look now, I am now throwing out 49, 50, 51 amps, 52 amps going to my battery. So now it is charging my battery. The indicator here is letting me know that it is charging. I can look through some of the screens and I can see what my voltage is going through, my state of charge, start, the battery, current is at 100 amps. It's saying it's going to stop charging at 95% state of charge, and then my battery stops if it gets below 54. So we'll go back here, and again, it kind of averaged out to about 35 amps it's charging and 87%. So that's kind of how the system is. You can kind of see there, charge inverter, all-in-one controller, down here to my server rack battery, and then my generator. So all this right here right now, that is what I'm using to run the power in my cabin. All right, step outside here now while that's the generator's running, so you guys can hear me a little better. But that's it. That's how I run my power into the cabin. I still need to get my solar panels. Those are going to go right here somewhere. I have some solar panels hooked up. Run that cable underground, hook that into the all-in-one converter, and then that'll help charge my battery up when it's sunny, at least. So day like today is when I need a generator. So I'm glad that I've got that hooked up. So right now, how my cabin runs off that battery, if I'm not having the generator going, so I'm just trying to, if I have anywhere from a 93 to 90, almost not 100% state of charge on that battery, I can run everything I need inside the cabin, electric wise, any lights, the ceiling fan, my computer. That's basically all I have right now, charging equipment, things like that, without any problems. And I can run that for about 2 days on a full charge inside the cabin. So one thing I'll have to check on excuse me, this summer will be, I do run a window air conditioner, so I don't know if that battery's enough to charge that itself. If not, I may have to look into an option. That battery is, I can run series, so I can run multiple batteries, and it shouldn't be an issue there. So if I had to get another battery to double my wattage output, I will do that. But we'll see whenever the summertime gets here and I get my solar hooked up and whatnot, because I don't want to run a generator a lot. Fuel prices, as you guys know, are pretty high right now, so the least amount of generator time I can get is what I'm going to look for. So if you guys can, do me a favor, please subscribe, leave me a comment, like this, and just be careful or be kind to me in the comments, because I am brand new at this. I do not know much about solar, so I maybe have misspoken a few things, and I apologize for that. Don't take what I'm doing as the gospel. This is just what works for me and what I've kind of learned and done my own research and kind of looked at my way. So, but again, hey, that's what I'm trying to do, trying to figure this stuff out. I love this off-grid experience. It's great, and Rifle does too. He really enjoys it. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and if you can, again, donate to your local shelters, dog shelters, animal shelters, whatever they are, because they really need the help. Support from people like us is what really keeps them going. Anyway, all right, so that's it for this video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you very much for watching.